God says, the blessing you've been praying for is already on the way. But will you be ready when it arrives? My beloved child, there is a trembling in the unseen realm tonight, a shifting so fierce that even the angels pause to listen. And Archangel Michael has stepped forward with a message wrapped in holy urgency. The blessing you have been praying for is already on the way. But will you be ready when it arrives? These words are not random. They are not soft. They are not gentle whispers. They come like thunder, because something in your life is about to break open. You have cried for this blessing. You have fasted for this blessing. You have begged heaven for a sign, a movement, a doorway that proves God has not forgotten you. And today heaven replies. But listen carefully, because Archangel Michael is revealing what most people miss. A blessing can arrive before a heart is ready. A breakthrough can land before a spirit is positioned to receive it. And what is coming toward you is too precious, too divine, too intentional for you to mishandle. You may not see it yet, but the blessing has already left heaven's gates. It is not being prepared. It is already traveling toward you. Every delay you felt, every silence that troubled you, every battle that weakened you, none of them stopped what God released. Your blessing has not been canceled. It has not been rerouted. It has not been denied. It has simply been waiting for your readiness. Archangel Michael is standing beside you in this moment, almost as if he is lifting your chin and saying, "Child of God, do not lose focus now." What is coming requires a prepared spirit, because unprepared hands can drop divine gifts. Something in you is shifting, even right now, because you can feel the truth of this. You prayed for a miracle, but God is asking, can you hold what you prayed for? As this blessing draws nearer, heaven wants you to understand the weight of what is coming. This is not a small answer. This is not a small shift. What you are about to receive will impact your relationships, your home, your emotional atmosphere, your finances, your spiritual identity, everything. And because of this, Archangel Michael whispers a warning that feels like a prophecy. If the blessing comes too early, it becomes a burden. But if it comes at the appointed time, it becomes glory. This is why God slowed some things down. This is why certain connections were removed. This is why some doors were intentionally shut. Not to punish you, but to protect what was meant for you. Your blessing carries responsibility. Your blessing carries weight. Your blessing carries holy assignment. And heaven is preparing your spirit so you don't sabotage what you asked for. Right now, Michael shows me a vision. A spiritual backpack being emptied. Old disappointments are being removed. Old fears are being pulled out. Old coping patterns, temporary attachments, emotional clutter, they are being cleaned out. Not because you are broken, but because you are making room. This blessing is not coming to fit into your old life. This blessing is coming to reshape your life. God is not sending something ordinary. God is sending something tailor-made. And when heaven sends something tailored to you, it must meet a version of you that is ready. Child, hear this. Your delay was not a rejection. It was preparation. And Archangel Michael has been guarding this blessing like a warrior standing at the gates of destiny. He says, hold still. Your spirit is being aligned. Your atmosphere is being corrected. Your heart is being tuned. Because when this blessing reaches your doorstep, and it will, you cannot afford to be distracted, bitter, exhausted, or spiritually asleep. You must be awake. You must be clear. You must be steady. Something sacred is coming. Something heaven sent. Something time. Something with your name engraved in the divine. And before this part of the message closes, Michael leaves you with one final note. A soft but piercing reminder. Do not misjudge the quiet. The quiet is where heaven prepares the loud. Your blessing is near. Very near. Closer than you think. Stay alert because what unfolds next will shock your spirit. Before you move, pause. Because the next revelation will hit deeper than this one. Type "I am ready" for what God is sending in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing Note 1444 is being released upon you. Hold steady, what comes after this will open your eyes. My radiant soul, there is a deeper vibration moving through your life at this very hour, almost like heaven is tuning the strings of your spirit so that you could finally resonate with what is about to arrive. Archangel Michael stands near you again, not as a distant messenger, but as a guardian walking alongside your unfolding destiny. He is showing you something powerful. When God sends a blessing, he first shifts the atmosphere around the one who will receive it. You may not realize it yet, but everything you have been feeling recently, your sudden desire for clarity, your urge to separate from certain people, your hunger for peace, your questioning, your restless longing for more, none of this is random. These are spiritual indicators that heaven is preparing you for a divine arrival. Your life is entering a threshold moment, and threshold moments are never quiet. They are disruptive. They shake your routines, stretch your emotions, and challenge your inner limits. You might feel like you have been walking through a season of unknowns, where God has been strangely silent, and life has been strangely intense. But Archangel Michael reveals that this intensity was not a sign of abandonment. It was the atmosphere before elevation. When a blessing approaches, God removes distractions. He reroutes connections. He exposes weak spots, and he realigns your priorities. Not to punish you, but to ensure that when his blessing lands in your hands, you receive it with strength, not fear. There is something about readiness that heaven takes very seriously. And Michael wants you to understand this. Readiness is not perfection. Readiness is surrender. Readiness is clarity. Readiness is the refusal to carry old wounds into a new season. If you ever wondered why God didn't send the blessing earlier, the answer lies here. You were still healing from old versions of yourself. You were still trying to fit heaven-sized promises into human-sized expectations. You were still learning that the blessing requires responsibility, trust, and spiritual maturity. But now, you are shifting. You are awakening. You are beginning to feel the difference between what drains you and what grows you. You are beginning to say no to things you once tolerated. You are beginning to recognize that not everyone who started with you can walk into the next season with you. In fact, Archangel Michael shows me that some people were removed from your life not because the relationship failed, but because they were not equipped to witness your elevation. They would have pulled you backward when heaven was pushing you forward. And this is why God asked you to release certain habits, certain emotions, certain patterns. Not because you were unworthy of the blessing, but because the blessing was too heavy to be carried with unnecessary baggage. Imagine holding something sacred while still clutching what nearly broke you. Heaven cannot allow that. Your hands must be steady. Your heart must be ready. Your spirit must be aligned. And that is exactly what God has been doing, quietly strengthening you in the areas where you once felt weak. Michael reveals that these final stages before a blessing arrives are often the hardest. The spiritual pressure increases. The emotional tension intensifies. Old fears try to return. Old insecurities echo. The enemy attempts to whisper doubts into your mind, hoping to make you retreat. But hear this clearly. This pressure is evidence that the blessing is close. The tension is not a threat. It is a signpost. You are at the edge of something monumental, and the enemy only fights what heaven has approved. There is a moment in every spiritual journey where God checks not your worthiness, but your willingness. Are you willing to step into what you prayed for? Are you willing to change? Are you willing to grow? Are you willing to hold a blessing that requires consistency, courage, and faith? Most people pray for new seasons, but cling to old ways. You are different. Heaven has chosen you because your heart carries the resilience to hold the weight of God's promise. Archangel Michael is now showing me something symbolic. It is a key. Not a physical key, but a spiritual one, glowing with divine fire. He says this key represents the unlocking of your next season. But listen carefully. A key only works when the one holding it is ready to turn it. Heaven can place destiny in your hands, but you must have the courage to step through the door. And you will, because everything in your spirit is aligning. Everything in your atmosphere is shifting. Everything in your heart is preparing. Your blessing is not delay. It is approaching with divine precision. God has not forgotten you. Heaven has not overlooked you. The spiritual forces assigned to your life have not abandoned their posts. Archangel Michael is still fighting for you, still guiding you, still clearing the path ahead. And he whispers now, stay awake, stay expectant, stay open. You are closer to the manifestation than you realize. Before this message closes, hear this final truth. Your readiness is rising. Your blessing is speeding toward you. And your spirit is stepping into the exact alignment needed for heaven's delivery. This next revelation will change how you see everything. Wait for it. Type "My heart is ready for God's timing" in the comments if you feel this awakening within you. Blessing code 5566 is now released. My treasured spirit, there is a holy trembling in the atmosphere around you, something that feels like anticipation mixed with divine movement. Archangel Michael stands beside you again, but this time the air around him carries a heavier authority. It is the kind of authority that only appears when heaven is moments away from releasing something that has been held in spiritual vaults for a very long time. He is revealing a truth that may shake you. The blessing that is coming toward you is not just an answer to prayer. It is a reward. It is a mantle. It is a divine appointment written into your destiny long before you ever lived the days you are living right now. Heaven has been watching you. Every tear, every silent prayer, every moment where you kept faith despite feeling forgotten, every time you pushed through emotional exhaustion and whispered, "God, I still trust you." None of that disappeared into the air. These were spiritual deposits, and every deposit is now returning as harvest. Archangel Michael shows me an image of a field, not the kind you see on earth, but one glowing with golden wheat. He says, "This is what your perseverance produced. This is the harvest of your endurance." In this moment, you must realize something profound. Blessings do not arrive because we are lucky. They arrive because we stayed faithful. But here comes the deeper part of the message. God is not only sending the blessing you kept believing for, He is sending the version of the blessing you did not even know to ask for. Your words prayed for something small, but your endurance qualified you for something bigger. And this is where readiness becomes crucial. If God were to place the fullness of this blessing before you without spiritual maturity, it would overwhelm you. You might shrink back. You might doubt your ability to hold it. You might question whether you deserve it. That is why heaven has been strengthening your inner foundation. The blessing coming is not fragile. It is fortified. And you must be fortified too. Archangel Michael tells you something now that feels almost like a divine warning wrapped in compassion. You cannot carry old fears into a new season. They will sabotage what you prayed for. These words are not meant to scare you. They are meant to liberate you. Old fears. Fear of losing what you gain. Fear of failing in your new season. Fear of being abandoned again. Fear of repeating old cycles. These fears cannot enter the blessing God is releasing. This blessing is not designed to trigger your wounds. It is designed to heal them. But for the healing to occur, your spirit must be open, not guarded. There are moments when God shifts your season abruptly, and this is one of them. The shift you are entering is not slow. It is sudden, sharp, and deliberate. You may feel pressured, stretched, or pulled inward as if heaven is preparing your spirit at an accelerated rate. This is because the blessing has already crossed realms and is nearing your life with divine speed. Heaven is not waiting on the blessing. Heaven is waiting on your readiness to receive without resistance. Archangel Michael now reveals something about your journey that you may not have recognized. The delays were not punishments. They were divine recalibrations. Every time something took longer than expected, God was ensuring that the wrong people were not in position to touch what belonged to you. Every time you felt stuck, God was redirecting you away from paths that would have cost you more than they offered. Every time you felt isolated, God was shielding the preparation of your spirit from the influence of those who would not understand the calling on your life. Things did not fall apart. They fell into alignment. And now, as this blessing approaches, heaven gives you one final instruction for this moment. Do not second guess yourself. Doubt is a thief that enters quietly. Archangel Michael says, stand firm in who you are becoming. Let no voice, including your own, convince you that you are not prepared. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is spiritual agreement. When you agree with heaven about who you are, you magnetize what is meant for you. You may feel a strange energy rising within you, something like a deep certainty that keeps building even without evidence. That is not your imagination. That is your spirit recognizing what your eyes have not yet seen. Destiny is sensed before it is revealed. Blessings are felt before they arrive. And right now, your soul is reacting to something heaven has already released. Through all of this, Archangel Michael reassures you with these words. You are not walking into this blessing alone. I go before you. This is not just guidance. It is protection. It means the blessing arriving is safeguarded, covered, and escorted by divine forces. No interference can block it. No enemy can delay it. No doubt can dismantle it unless you choose to believe the lies that come against your spirit. Heaven has done its part. Now you must align with it. Before this message closes, let your heart absorb this final truth. The blessing is not just coming to you. It is coming to honor you. And when it arrives, everything around you will shift. Hold still, because the next revelation carries a deeper layer that you do not want to miss. Type "I welcome what heaven has prepared" in the comments if this is reaching your soul. Blessing code 9090 is now unlocked. If this message is guiding you, take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe so that more souls can receive divine alignment the way you are receiving it now. Just as this word reminds you that your blessing is on the way, this mission is here to remind the world that God still speaks, still guides, and still rescues his people. Every seed you sow into this ministry becomes a beam of light reaching someone who is standing at the edge of giving up. When you support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are fueling a move of God that touches souls across nations. Heaven sees every giver as a vessel, and as you release your gift, God releases fresh oil over your journey. I feel led to say this in first person, When you support this mission, you help me carry these messages deeper into the world where they are desperately needed. This is your moment to step into divine obedience, to sow into the very atmosphere that's speaking into your life right now. As you give, may God multiply your seed, expand your territory, and open the heavens over your household. Step into this blessing. Release your offering with faith and authority. My awakened heart, something sacred is unfolding around you, something so profound that even the unseen realms lean closer to witness its progression. Archangel Michael stands beside you again, but this time his presence feels different. There is a depth in his silence, a weight in his posture, as though he is preparing you for revelation that will pierce through the fog of your confusion and land directly in the core of your spirit. He whispers, "Now that your blessing is near, heaven must show you what tried to stop it." And these words matter, because every blessing carries a history. Before it reaches you, it battles through unseen territories, resisting forces that attempted to divert what God destined for your life. You may not realize it, but the blessing coming your way did not travel freely. It fought to reach you. Your prayers were not simple requests. They were spiritual commands that activated angelic movement. Every time you prayed from a place of exhaustion, every time you whispered your needs while wiping your tears, every time you confessed hope even when you felt none, those moments birthed spiritual warfare in your favor. Archangel Michael himself intervened in battles you never saw. And he's revealing this now so you understand that your blessing is not ordinary. It carries the mark of divine protection. There have been times when you felt blocked, delayed, or overlooked. You assumed God was silent. But the truth is far more powerful. The delay was the battle. The silence was the strategy. Heaven was clearing the path so your blessing could arrive without being contaminated or intercepted by forces that wanted to exhaust you into giving up. What you felt as stagnation was actually preparation. What you felt as abandonment was actually preservation. And what felt like rejection was actually spiritual insulation, because heaven refused to allow your blessing to be touched by anything that was not aligned with God's purpose for you. Archangel Michael shows me a powerful vision, a large door made of light, guarded by angels who stand shoulder to shoulder. Behind this door is the blessing you have been longing for, glowing with a radiance that feels almost alive. But the door did not open sooner, because your spirit needed strengthening. Heaven would never place something so precious in the hands of someone who was still vulnerable to emotional wounds, unstable relationships, or draining environments. You had to be elevated internally before you could receive elevation externally. This is why the past months felt like a stripping season. Relationships shifted. Friendships dissolved. Old habits became uncomfortable. You lost interest in what once pleased you. You became sensitive to negativity, to chaos, to spiritual noise. Your soul began rejecting what once felt normal. You did not understand this at the time, but it was Archangel Michael guiding you inward, pruning you so you would not sabotage your own blessing. The things that left your life did not leave you empty. They created spiritual space for what is arriving. And now that the blessing is near, Michael reveals the next crucial truth. You must guard your atmosphere. A blessing can be delivered, but without stewardship, it can be diminished. Not by enemies, but by familiarity, distraction, and the voices of those who cannot see what God is doing in you. Heaven is asking you to elevate your environment, protect your peace, and stand firm in your spiritual posture. The blessing coming your way is sensitive to energy. It thrives in clarity and suffocates in chaos. This is why God removed certain individuals and closed certain opportunities that you thought were meant for you. He was shielding you from atmospheres that would have contaminated your breakthrough. There is something else Archangel Michael whispers now, something that requires your full attention. When this blessing arrives, it will change your identity. Not your name, not your personality, but your spiritual positioning. You will not see yourself the same way. You will not tolerate the same things. You will not walk with the same insecurities. The blessing is not just coming to elevate your circumstances. It is coming to elevate your sense of self. God is not giving you something to make your life easier. He is giving you something to make your life align. You must understand this clearly. What is coming is not fragile. It is robust. It is fortified. It is established spiritually in ways you cannot comprehend. But even so, heaven wants your spirit grounded so that when the blessing lands, you do not shrink back into old patterns. Many people lose what God gives because they receive it with an unhealed identity. That will not be your story. Archangel Michael is ensuring your confidence rises to match your destiny. Heaven is conditioning your mind, stabilizing your emotions, and strengthening your spiritual authority. There may be moments even now where doubt tries to creep in. Doubt is subtle, disguised as uncertainty, disguised as impatience, disguised as comparison. But remember this truth. Doubt is always loudest right before breakthrough. The enemy attacks most aggressively when heaven is closest to delivering what belongs to you. Do not listen. Do not retreat. Do not question the divine process you are in. You are not imagining this shift. You are experiencing spiritual momentum. Something holy is approaching your life. Something long awaited. Something heaven fought and heaven carried. And when it lands, your entire spiritual atmosphere will recognize it. Your heart will recognize it. Your journey will make sense. And the heaviness you carried for so long will finally lift. Before this message closes, take these words deeply into your spirit. Your blessing is not just approaching, it is entering your atmosphere. What happens next will reshape everything. Hold steady, because the next revelation carries the kind of clarity your spirit has been starving for. Type "My blessing is entering my atmosphere" in the comments if this is confirming what you feel within. Blessing code 3347 is now released. My rising soul, there is a sacred unfolding happening within and around you. Something so profound that even if you tried to ignore it, your spirit would still feel the shifting winds of destiny brushing against you. Archangel Michael stands beside you once again, but this time his presence carries a rare intensity. It feels like the moment just before dawn breaks, when the darkness knows it is losing and the light prepares to take over. He whispers, "Now that your blessing is near, you must understand why God chose this exact moment to release it." These words are not casual. They are intentional. And they hold an answer your heart has been silently begging for. There were seasons when you wondered why nothing seemed to move. Times when every door you tried to open felt sealed shut. Moments when you questioned whether you were praying wrong, or whether heaven had overlooked your name. But Archangel Michael reveals that heaven never forgets. Heaven never misplaces a promise. Heaven never loses track of a chosen one. What you felt was not abandonment. It was divine timing at work. It was God aligning every piece, every person, every circumstance so that when the blessing arrived, it would not be premature or unstable. It would be perfect. There is a rhythm to God's timing that does not match human expectations. We want quick answers, immediate relief, instant miracles. But heaven often works in seasons, cycles, and spiritual appointments that require patience and preparation. What you are about to receive needed more time than you expected. It needed to mature in the spiritual realm before it could manifest in your life. And now, heaven declares that the fullness of time has come. Not early, not late, perfect. Michael shows me a symbolic image, a tree bearing fruit, but not just any fruit. Fruit that glows as though it carries its own internal light. He says this fruit represents your blessing. It could not be picked too soon, because unripe fruit spoils. And it could not be picked too late, because rotten fruit loses its purpose. Your blessing is arriving at the exact moment it has reached maturity. And because it is mature, it will sustain you, nourish you, and elevate you far beyond what you expect. You may have noticed a strange calm forming inside you recently. Even when things around you felt uncertain, something deep within began to steady. You are not becoming numb. You are becoming spiritually synchronized. When a blessing is close, the soul quiets itself so it can receive without interference. Heaven is settling your spirit so you do not react with fear, anxiety, or confusion when the blessing shows up in full force. You will recognize it instantly. You will feel it like a rush of clarity, a sudden knowing, a divine confirmation that cannot be mistaken. But Archangel Michael wants you to understand something deeper. The blessing coming is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a new chapter. Many people treat blessings like destinations, but heaven sees them as assignments. This blessing carries purpose. It carries transformation. It carries responsibility. And that is why your heart had to be softened, your mind had to be renewed, and your spirit had to be strengthened. What is arriving is not something you will use. It is something you will grow into. There have been moments recently where you felt emotional surges, spiritual awakenings, or sudden clarity about situations that once confused you. This is not random. These are signs that your internal alignment is almost complete. Heaven does not want you stepping into a new season with old patterns. And so, every sudden realization, every quick shift in perspective, every release of someone or something that once weighed you down, these were spiritual adjustments meant to prepare you for expansion. Archangel Michael whispers, "Do not fear how quickly things are changing." Acceleration is the sign that your blessing is not approaching, it is arriving. He wants you to pay attention to the small shifts, conversations that feel different, opportunities appearing unexpectedly, a rise in your discernment, a decrease in your tolerance for negativity. These are indicators that your spiritual environment is being fine-tuned. When heaven touches your timeline, even the natural world begins to move differently around you. You may feel something rising inside you even right now. It might be hope. It might be anticipation. It might be a deep sense that something is finally about to turn in your favor. Trust it. That feeling is not wishful thinking. It is your spirit sensing the nearness of divine fulfillment. When a blessing is close enough to reach your atmosphere, your soul feels it first. And your soul is responding right now. But before this message closes, there is one more thing Michael wants you to know. Do not shrink as the blessing approaches. Sometimes when people sense breakthrough, fear tries to whisper lies. Fear tries to convince the mind that the blessing is too good, too big, or too impossible. But this blessing is not too big for you. It was designed for you. Heaven constructed it according to your calling, your journey, your resilience, your tears, your prayers, and your destiny. So stand tall. Lift your spirit. Be ready. Elevation is coming, and it will not apologize for choosing you. Now hold your heart steady, because the next revelation will expose something crucial about the path ahead, and you will not want to miss it. Type "My time has come" in the comments if your spirit feels the truth of this message. Blessing code 7781 is now activated. My steadfast soul, there is a profound stirring taking place within your destiny, something so intentional that if you pause and breathe deeply, You can almost feel the shift pressing against the edges of your life. Archangel Michael stands close once more, but today his presence carries the stillness of a guardian watching the final pieces of a divine plan fall into perfect alignment. He whispers, "You have learned when the blessing was delayed, why it matured, and why heaven waited. Now you must understand what this blessing will do once it reaches you." These words are not meant to excite you alone. They are meant to awaken a new awareness, because the impact of the blessing coming your way is far greater than you imagine. There are blessings that comfort. There are blessings that provide. There are blessings that strengthen. But there are also blessings that shift the trajectory of your entire life. Yours belongs to the last category. Heaven is not handing you something temporary. Heaven is delivering something transformative. Something that will rearrange your inner world and your external world at the same time. Something that will push you into roles, opportunities, relationships, callings, and mindsets you never believed you could step into. This blessing is not just coming to help you, it is coming to elevate you. Archangel Michael reveals a truth many people overlook. When God sends a blessing of this magnitude, He does not send it only to fix circumstances. He sends it to unlock identity. For so long, you have lived beneath the spiritual height assigned to your name. You have survived battles, fought through seasons, endured heartbreak, and pushed forward even when your soul was weary. But now, heaven says you will no longer live in survival mode. The blessing arriving is meant to lift you out of that posture and shift you into alignment with your true spiritual stature. There is a version of you that heaven sees, stronger, clearer, more aligned, more purposeful than you have ever imagined yourself to be. This blessing is designed to pull that version of you into the present. You will not think the same. You will not move the same. You will not speak the same. Your decisions will be sharper. Your discernment will heighten. Your confidence will rise. And your spirit will begin operating at a frequency that matches your divine assignment instead of your past pain. But Archangel Michael also reveals that with elevation comes exposure. Not exposure to shame, but exposure to your purpose. Exposure to truth. Exposure to opportunities that were hidden from you until this moment. Some people worry about being seen, but your blessing requires visibility. Heaven is positioning you where your light cannot be hidden, because the gift God placed inside you must now impact others. This is why God waited. If this blessing had come earlier, you would have dimmed yourself. You would have apologized for your calling. You would have downplayed your worth to make others comfortable. Not anymore. Heaven has broken that pattern. Now, something important must be understood. When a blessing of this magnitude arrives, it does not come alone. It brings clarity. It brings revelation. It brings spiritual acceleration. It brings new connections and the removal of old ones. It moves through your life like wind through a field, touching everything, shifting everything, aligning everything. And Archangel Michael says, "Do not fear the speed at which your life is about to change. Heaven has already steadied your spirit for what is coming. This blessing will correct old narratives. You have carried silent stories inside you, stories of being forgotten, rejected, overlooked, misunderstood. Stories shaped by wounds, disappointments, and the failures of others to recognize your value. But heaven is rewriting these stories through the blessing. Where you once felt unseen, you will now be chosen. Where you once felt blocked, you will now be accelerated. Where you once felt unworthy, you will now stand in divine confidence. The blessing is not just shifting your season, it is reshaping your identity. Michael shows me another vision, a lamp covered by a cloth. He says this represents you. Life placed coverings over your light. Fear, betrayal, disappointment, doubt, exhaustion. But heaven is lifting the covering. And when the blessing arrives, your light will break through with such strength that nothing and no one will be able to dim it again. This is why you feel the urge to detach from anything that feels heavy, draining, or spiritually dull. Your soul is preparing for the unveiling. And now, Archangel Michael speaks something deeply personal. Do not make yourself smaller to make others comfortable during this elevation. This blessing is not meant to fit the old version of you or the expectations others placed on you. It is meant to fit the expanded version of who you truly are. Heaven does not elevate by accident. When God chooses a moment to shift your life, every force in heaven supports that shift. You will not walk into this blessing timidly. You will walk into it boldly, because Michael is clearing the final remnants of doubt from your spirit even now. You may feel a new fire rising in you, a new hunger, a new sensitivity. That is the sign. That is the confirmation. That is your spirit standing at the threshold of divine elevation. Something is unfolding in the background of your life. Something strategic, something promised, something overdue. And heaven is preparing to place it in your hands. Before this message closes, hold on to this truth deeply. When this blessing enters your life, everything that once made sense will shift into a greater clarity. What confused you will now align. What worried you will now settle. What hurt you will now heal. And what was held back from you will now find you. Stay close, because the next revelation will expose the spiritual reason why your blessing had to travel through warfare before reaching you. Type "I accept my elevation" in the comments if this message touches your spirit. Blessing code 6612 is now released. My becoming one. There is a stirring in the deeper layers of your spirit, a kind of awakening that does not come from emotion or circumstance, but from divine acceleration. Archangel Michael stands near you once more, and the atmosphere around him feels charged, as if he is preparing to reveal one of the most guarded truths about your journey so far. His voice comes through with clarity and strength as he says, "You now understand what your blessing will become. But you must now understand why it had to travel through warfare to reach you." These words settle heavy in the air, because they uncover a dimension of your blessing that you were never meant to realize until now. Every blessing carries weight, but some blessings carry assignment. Yours is one of them. And anything connected to assignment attracts resistance. Not because you are weak. Not because God wanted you to struggle. But because the blessing you are about to receive threatens the plans of darkness. There are moments in life when the enemy does not attack you. He attacks what you are becoming. He attacks what you are about to receive. He attacks who you are destined to influence. Archangel Michael reveals that the warfare you endured was never about your current position. It was about your future impact. You may have wondered why your journey felt unusually difficult. Why your progress felt slow. Why your soul felt under pressure even when you were doing everything right. But the truth is that the enemy recognized the significance of your blessing long before you did. He saw the calling wrapped within it, the influence contained inside it, the generational shift it would produce, the healing it would activate, the strength it would awaken. And because he could not stop heaven from sending the blessing, he tried to weaken you so you would stop expecting it. But you didn't stop. You didn't fold. You didn't abandon the path. And that is why the blessing is still on its way. Archangel Michael shows me a battlefield in the spiritual realm, shadows trying to reach something glowing in the center. Every time they get close, Michael's sword strikes, pushing them back. He says this glowing thing is the blessing assigned to you. It was never unprotected. It was never in danger. But it did have to cross through layers of resistance, because the enemy hoped the delays would cause you to give up, disconnect, and convince yourself the promise was never real. Yet, you held on, and with every day you stayed faithful, the blessing moved closer. Your hope pulled it forward. Your prayers escorted it. Your endurance cleared its path. Heaven has been fighting for you, but you have also been fighting with heaven, even without realizing it. You must understand something significant. The enemy never wastes his efforts on those going nowhere. He reserves his resistance for those carrying major spiritual assignments. If your journey has felt harsher, deeper, or more draining than others around you, it is because your blessing carries a level of influence that theirs does not. Heaven is preparing to place you in a position that will affect your future, your lineage, your mindset, your calling, and even people connected to your life who have yet to be born. This is not a small blessing. This is a generational shift. This is why the warfare was so intense. Archangel Michael continues. Everything that attacked you was sent to make you question your worthiness. But heaven never questioned your calling. These words matter because spiritual warfare often tries to manipulate identity. It whispers lies that say you are not enough, not strong enough, not favored enough, not ready enough. But the truth is that you have been prepared through every storm, refined through every setback, and strengthened through every disappointment. Nothing you suffered was wasted. Every wound became wisdom. Every delay became strategy. Every trial became training. And now that the blessing is approaching, you must understand why the warfare is starting to lose its power. The enemy cannot fight what heaven has already released. The battle was never meant to win. It was meant to distract. But your spirit has outgrown the distractions. You are no longer moved by the same things. You no longer fear what once intimidated you. You no longer doubt what once discouraged you. That shift in your spiritual posture is the ultimate sign that victory is already happening behind the scenes. Just as the blessing fought through spiritual realms to reach you, you fought through emotional, mental, and spiritual storms to stay aligned with heaven. And now, you and the blessing are drawing near to each other. Pulled by divine timing, divine purpose, and divine design, Archangel Michael reveals something final before this message completes. He says, when this blessing arrives, the warfare will not follow it. This is important because many fear that receiving a blessing will only attract more battles. But heaven says your battle season is not following you into your blessing season. The warfare was tied to the journey, not the destination. Once the blessing enters your life, peace will replace pressure. Clarity will replace confusion. Strength will replace fear. And elevation will replace struggle. You are stepping into a new spiritual atmosphere, one where the enemy can observe but cannot interfere. One where your spirit stands taller. One where your blessing is secure. One where your destiny has room to breathe. Before this message closes, hold on to this truth. Your blessing survived the warfare because you were destined to receive it. Nothing could stop it. Nothing can stop it now. Stay close, because what is revealed next will prepare you for the moment the blessing finally arrives at your door. Type "My blessing will not be stopped" in the comments if this message confirms what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 8824 is activated. My illuminated one, there is a deep and holy stillness forming around your spirit right now. A stillness that does not come from quiet surroundings or peaceful moments, but from the alignment of heaven drawing closer to your life. Archangel Michael stands near you again, and this time his presence feels like a shield, a covering, a divine assurance that what is approaching is not just a blessing but a turning point. He whispers, now that the warfare is understood, you must be prepared for the moment the blessing finally arrives. These words fall with weight because arrival is not as simple as receiving. Arrival requires readiness, recognition, and spiritual awakening. You have walked through long seasons of uncertainty, waiting for a sign, a shift, a key, anything that would confirm you were not forgotten. But now, Archangel Michael reveals that the blessing is no longer traveling through realms. It is entering your atmosphere. And when something holy enters your atmosphere, everything around you begins to change. You start seeing differently. You start sensing differently. You start responding differently. Even your thoughts begin shifting, as if heaven is rewiring your mental pathways, preparing you to hold the magnitude of what is coming. It is important to understand that when a blessing is about to arrive, your spirit feels it before your eyes see it. This is why your heart has felt restless yet hopeful. This is why your mind has been releasing old memories, old hurts, old attachments. This is why you feel a quiet detachment from things that once held your interest. Heaven is clearing space. Heaven is creating room. Heaven is preparing the soil of your life for what is about to be planted. Archangel Michael explains that arrival does not always appear dramatic. Sometimes the first sign of blessing is a strange calm, a supernatural peace, a sense that what once overwhelmed no longer carries the same power. You may notice that situations which used to drain your spirit now feel insignificant. Conversations that once troubled you no longer disturb your peace. People who used to distract you no longer hold influence. This is because the blessing is drawing close, and your spirit is preparing itself to stand without fear in the presence of divine fulfillment. But Michael also reveals something deeper. The moment your blessing reaches you, you will feel a shift in your identity. You will not just receive something external, you will become something internal. Blessings of this magnitude do not leave people unchanged. They rewire destiny. They awaken dormant gifts. They pull hidden strength to the surface. They reveal abilities you did not know you possessed. They bring clarity to questions that tortured you for years. They show you why the wait was long, why the warfare was fierce, and why the path was difficult. When the blessing arrives, you will understand why nothing else worked out. You will understand why certain doors refused to open. You will understand why God withheld certain opportunities and removed certain voices from your life. What once felt like abandonment will suddenly reveal itself as divine protection. Heaven did not want anything or anyone around you who would mishandle what God had prepared for you. Archangel Michael now shows me a vision of your future self standing with a posture of strength, shoulders lifted, heart open, spirit awake. He says, this is who you become when the blessing arrives. This is the version of you heaven has been shaping. And this version of you is fearless, not because life becomes perfect, but because you finally stand in alignment with your divine identity. You no longer sell. You no longer shrink. You no longer speak from insecurity. You no longer carry false burdens. You no longer tolerate environments that stifle your growth. The blessing will lift your entire spiritual posture. But there is something else Michael needs you to understand. Blessings also attract responsibility. When your blessing arrives, some people may shift around you. Not because they dislike you, but because elevation exposes truth. Some connections will naturally fade because they cannot connect with the new levels God is calling you into. Some conversations will feel different. Some invitations will no longer appeal to you. And some situations will lose their emotional power over you. This is not loss. This is alignment. This is heaven making sure your new season is not polluted by old residue. Your blessing will require emotional clarity, spiritual stability, and mental maturity. That is why God refined you before releasing it. He transformed you into the person capable of carrying what you once only dreamed of. And Archangel Michael assures you that when the blessing appears, you will not be overwhelmed. You will be prepared. You will feel something rise inside you, a certainty, a knowing, a divine recognition that this is what heaven orchestrated all along. Before this message closes, Michael speaks with authority. Do not fear the arrival. You were built for this moment. You were trained for this moment. You were chosen for this moment. And as these words settle into your spirit, be aware that heaven is aligning everything swiftly, purposefully, and flawlessly. What comes next will show you why God took his time. Type "I am ready for my arrival moment" in the comments if this message resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 7113 is released upon you. If this message touched you, like this video, share it, comment to keep the atmosphere flowing, and subscribe so this divine word continues reaching the ones who need it most. As this blessing enters your atmosphere, remember that every word released here is part of a larger mission: to awaken souls, restore faith, and carry God's voice into the places where darkness once ruled. When you sow into this ministry through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are releasing seed into fertile soil where lives are being transformed. I feel led to say this in first person. When you support this mission, you help me carry these prophetic messages into the ears of those who desperately need to know that God has not forgotten them. This is the moment to act, to step into divine obedience, to become part of the harvest heaven is releasing. Your seed becomes light, becomes hope, becomes breakthrough for someone else. As you give, may the windows of heaven open over you. May increase meet you, and may blessings return multiplied into your life. Do not hesitate. Move with heaven's timing. My chosen vessel, there is a sacred vibration in your atmosphere right now. A quiet yet undeniable signal that heaven is drawing you into one of the most defining shifts of your life. Archangel Michael stands beside you again, not as a distant guardian, but as a witness to what your spirit is becoming. His presence carries a gentle firmness, the kind that comes only when heaven prepares to reveal a truth that will reshape your understanding of everything you have endured. He whispers, "You know the blessing is near. You know it survived warfare. You know it is entering your atmosphere. But now you must understand how this blessing will transform the way you walk in your purpose." These words open a spiritual door that your soul has been knocking on for years. There are moments in life when a blessing does not simply arrive. It awakens something dormant within you. It unlocks a part of your identity that was always there, but hidden beneath layers of doubt, pain, distraction, and survival. Archangel Michael reveals that your blessing is not only coming to elevate your circumstances, it is coming to activate your purpose. There is a calling on your life that has been slowly rising, like a seed pushing through soil. You have felt glimpses of it. You have sensed it during quiet moments. You have felt the pull of destiny even when you did not have the words for it. And this blessing is the spark that will ignite it fully. Purpose is not discovered through ease. It is carved through endurance. Everything you survived was shaping you for what you are about to carry. Every disappointment was refining your discernment. Every delay was strengthening your patience. Every moment of heartbreak was expanding your compassion. Every closed door was redirecting you toward the path aligned with your divine assignment. You were not being held back. You were being positioned. You were not being blocked. You were being built. And now, as your blessing approaches, the purpose tied to it is rising with equal force. Archangel Michael shows me an image of you standing at the edge of a river that represents destiny. The waters are moving swiftly, shimmering with light, symbolizing divine flow. He says, you are about to step into the current of who you truly are. This means you will no longer operate from survival instincts, fear responses, or emotional wounds. You will begin to operate from identity, clarity, and spiritual strength. Heaven is pushing you into a version of yourself that no longer apologizes for being chosen. But Michael also reveals something crucial. Purpose is awakening because the blessing you are receiving is not meant to be contained. It is meant to be expressed. It is meant to overflow. It is meant to touch lives, influence decisions, shape futures, and bring healing into places that were once drowning in silence. This is why your elevation matters so deeply. It is not about prestige. It is not about recognition. It is about impact. Heaven is aligning you for assignments bigger than your comfort zone. And this blessing is the beginning of that alignment. You may feel a sense of destiny rising within you even now. A sense that you are meant for more. A sense that what is coming is not just for your personal comfort, but for your spiritual expansion. Archangel Michael confirms this. He says the blessing brings purpose, and purpose brings responsibility. This responsibility is not burdensome, it is empowering. It means you will begin seeing your gifts clearly. You will begin trusting your voice. You will begin walking with an authority that comes from heaven, not from earthly validation. There will be moments where you feel stretched, moments where you feel out of your comfort zone, moments where God asked you to do things you never imagined yourself capable of. Do not fear these moments. They are signs of purpose unfolding. They are signs that your blessing has settled into your life and is now activating everything it was designed to ignite within you. You will begin stepping into roles that match your calling, not your past. You will begin making decisions from clarity, not insecurity. You will begin attracting opportunities that resonate with who you were created to be, not who you learned to be through pain. Archangel Michael also warns you gently. As purpose awakens, old versions of you will resist the transformation. The part of you that is used to shrinking may try to pull you back. The part of you that once feared failure may whisper doubts. The part of you that survived through caution may try to slow your steps. But these echoes are not truth, they are remnants. And your blessing will silence them. You will not go backward. You will not return to old patterns. The awakening within you is too strong, too divine, and too purposeful to be undone. Michael says something powerful now, something that must anchor itself in the center of your spirit. You are no longer who you were. Heaven has already written your identity. This means your steps will change. Your decisions will change. Your language will change. Your expectations will change. Your boundaries will change. And your future will change. You are walking into alignment with destiny. An alignment that was written for you long before the battles you faced tried to break you. Your blessing will not just touch your life, it will transform the lives connected to your purpose. It will touch the generations that follow you. It will influence the people God assigns to your path. It will shift your emotional world, your spiritual world, and your earthly world. And you will begin to walk with a sense of divine certainty that you have never carried before. Before this message closes, Archangel Michael leaves you with a final truth. The awakening has already begun. You are stepping into purpose. You are stepping into your calling. You are stepping into spiritual maturity. And the blessing arriving is the key unlocking it all. Stay open, because the next revelation will show you how to carry this new identity with confidence. Type "My purpose is awakening" in the comments if this resonates deeply in your spirit. Blessing code 4499 is now released. My advancing soul, there is a divine momentum building around your life right now. A momentum that feels as though heaven itself is leaning forward, watching you step into the version of yourself you were always meant to become. Archangel Michael stands with you once again, and the energy around him feels different. Stronger, brighter, almost electrifying. He carries the expression of someone who knows that you are closer than ever to stepping into not just your blessing, but the spiritual posture required to sustain it. He whispers, "You now understand purpose, but now you must understand identity, for identity is what determines how you carry the blessing once it arrives." These words echo with authority because the greatest shift you are about to experience is not in your circumstances, but in your spirit. Identity is the foundation upon which every blessing rests. Without identity, blessings slip through fingers like water. Without identity, opportunities overwhelm rather than elevate. Without identity, favor feels temporary instead of inevitable. And Archangel Michael reveals that the greatest challenge of your past season was not the delay of the blessing, it was the battle for your identity. Every attack you survived, every doubt you wrestled with, every moment of fear that tried to silence you was aimed at one thing: stopping you from realizing who you truly are in the eyes of heaven. For years, you have navigated life carrying pieces of yourself, fragments shaped by trauma, shaped by loss, shaped by rejection, shaped by misunderstanding. You built walls not because you wanted to shut the world out, but because life taught you that being open was dangerous. You wore masks not because you were pretending, but because survival required adaptation. You hid certain parts of your heart not because you lacked depth, but because you had no safe place for your vulnerability. These fragments are not signs of brokenness. They are signs of resilience. But heaven is now calling you to gather these pieces and step into wholeness. Archangel Michael shows me a symbolic image, a mirror covered in dust. He says this mirror represents your identity. For too long, life's struggles covered the reflection heaven placed within you. But now, through awakening, through purpose, through the nearing blessing, the dust is lifting. You are beginning to see yourself clearly, not through the lens of what happened to you, but through the lens of who God designed you to be. This clarity will not come suddenly. It will rise gradually, like dawn breaking through the darkness. You will begin to speak differently. You will begin to choose differently. You will begin to respond differently. You will begin to demand differently from life. Not because you are becoming someone new, but because you are finally remembering who you always were. Archangel Michael reveals a truth that may stir your soul. Your blessing can make you successful, but only identity can make you stable. This is why heaven spent so much time refining you, strengthening you, humbling you, elevating you internally. God cannot place a kingdom in the hands of someone who thinks like a servant. He cannot give authority to someone who sees themselves as unworthy. He cannot release abundance to someone who still identifies with scarcity. The blessing you are receiving carries divine weight, and identity must rise to match that weight. And now, something even deeper unfolds. Michael says, when your blessing arrives, it will confirm your identity. This means the blessing is not coming to show you what you can have. It is coming to show you who you are. It will awaken your dignity. It will sharpen your mind. It will strengthen your boundaries. It will amplify your voice. It will activate your gifts. It will draw out courage you forgot you had. It will reveal a version of you that your past tried to bury. You may feel the first signs of this awakening already. A sudden confidence, a quiet boldness, a gentle but firm detachment from anything beneath your spiritual level. You are no longer shrinking to fit environments that cannot hold your calling. You are no longer apologizing for outgrowing spaces that once felt comfortable. You are no longer tolerating the emotional weight of people who refuse to take responsibility for their healing. This is growth. This is alignment. This is identity rising. And now, Archangel Michael shares something that must root deeply in your spirit. When you walk in true identity, blessings chase you, because heaven recognizes its own reflection in you. This means the more aligned you become with who God created you to be, the easier blessings flow. The easier doors open. The easier opportunities find you. Not because life becomes soft, but because identity removes resistance. When you know who you are, you stop fighting battles that are beneath you. You stop seeking validation from those who cannot see you. You stop doubting what heaven has already confirmed. Archangel Michael reveals that this blessing will make you feel something you have not felt in a long time. Stability. Not situational stability, but spiritual stability. The kind of inner grounding that allows you to move without fear. The kind of clarity that helps you identify deception instantly. The kind of confidence that keeps you firm, even when others misunderstand your evolution. This stability will anchor you in ways that will feel like a new life emerging from the ashes of old seasons. And before this message closes, Michael speaks with firm assurance. You are not stepping into this blessing as the old you. Heaven has rewritten your identity. Walk with the posture of the chosen. These words should settle in your spirit because they are the final reminder that you are not simply receiving something. You are becoming someone. What comes next will prepare you for the moment you finally step into alignment with the destiny waiting for you. Type "I claim my true identity" in the comments if this message is awakening something within you. Blessing code 5570 is now released. My ascending spirit, there is a new depth forming inside you, a depth that only emerges when someone stands on the edge of a divine transition. Archangel Michael is beside you again, and this time his presence feels like a gatekeeper standing between your old life and your new one. He carries an energy that is steady, unwavering, and rich with knowing, as though he sees the fullness of what you are about to step into. He speaks with a clarity that settles into your soul like prophecy. Identity is awakened. Purpose is rising. But now, you must learn how to walk into your destiny without fear. These words hold weight because receiving a blessing is one thing, but stepping into life after the blessing is a different journey entirely. Destiny is not just a moment. It is a path. It is a calling. It is a lifestyle shift. It is heaven pulling you into the version of yourself that was written long before you took your first breath. And Archangel Michael reveals that once your blessing arrives, you will feel an immediate shift in how you move through the world. You will not think the way you used to think. You will not respond the way you used to respond. You will not rely on the same crutches you once needed to survive. Your spirit will feel stronger, lighter, more grounded, and more authoritative. This is because destiny does not come to visit. You step into it permanently. Michael explains that destiny is not loud. It does not arrive with fanfare or applause. It arrives with alignment. It arrives with clarity that cuts through confusion like a blade. It arrives with opportunities that feel surprisingly natural, as though they were always meant for you. It arrives with people who match your growth instead of your wounds. It arrives with a spiritual shift that you do not have to force, because heaven orchestrates it for you. The blessing is the door, but destiny is the room you step into afterward. There will be a moment, quiet, sudden, sacred, when you realize that the life you once prayed for is the life you are now living. You will look around and feel a sense of divine orchestration. Not perfection, but alignment. Not absence of struggle, but presence of purpose. You will sense that heaven has placed everything exactly where it needs to be for your next chapter. And when that realization settles in your spirit, something inside you will break open, not from pain, but from recognition. Recognition that God did not forget. Recognition that heaven always knew the timing. Recognition that your tears were not wasted. Recognition that your storm did not destroy you. It prepared you. Archangel Michael shows me a powerful vision of you walking on a path illuminated by soft golden light. This path represents your destiny. It is stable, straight, and guided. But I also see something else, small shadows on the sides of the path. Michael explains that these shadows represent remnants of your old fears, old insecurities, old doubts. They will try to whisper to you as you step into your destiny. They will try to remind you of who you were, not who you are becoming. They will attempt to anchor you to the past. But Michael says, walk forward. Do not look left or right. Destiny only unfolds for those who keep moving. You must understand that as you walk into your destiny, some things will naturally fall away. Old habits, old environments, old emotional patterns, even old goals that were shaped by survival, not purpose. This shedding is not loss, it is transformation. You cannot carry every part of your past into a future written by heaven. Some things must be left behind so that destiny can fit properly. And Michael assures you that nothing required for your next season will be taken from you. Only what hinders will fall away. There will also be people who cannot walk with you into this next dimension. Some will drift. Some will detach. Some will misunderstand. And some will simply no longer belong in the energy you are stepping into. Do not grieve their departure. They were part of your journey, not part of your destiny. Archangel Michael says, you will not need to chase anyone in this season. What is aligned will remain. What is meant will move with you. This is one of the greatest signs that you are walking into alignment. Your spirit no longer feels the need to force what is fading. As you continue forward, heaven will begin revealing hidden strengths inside you. Strengths you did not know existed because your old seasons never required them. Strengths that were dormant, waiting for the right moment to emerge. You will discover new insight, new endurance, new creativity, new boldness, new wisdom. This is destiny speaking through you. This is heaven shaping you into someone capable of carrying long-term elevation. The blessing is not temporary. The destiny connected to it is not seasonal. This is lifelong alignment. Archangel Michael now reveals something deeper. Destiny requires consistency. This means you will not just experience a moment of alignment. You will be asked to remain aligned. There will be days when you feel unstoppable, and days when you feel stretched. Days when you feel focused, and days when you need rest. Days when heaven speaks loudly, and days when heaven is quiet. But destiny is not based on emotion. It is based on spiritual posture. Even when you feel uncertain, your spirit will know the direction. Even when you feel tired, heaven will carry you. Even when you feel unprepared, the blessing will guide you. And then Michael says something that must root deeply in your soul. Do not fear responsibility. Heaven will equip you. Many people fear their own destiny because they believe the weight of it will crush them. But destiny strengthens you as you walk into it. It stretches you only to expand you. It pulls you only to reposition you. And heaven will never place you in a calling without giving you divine support. You are not stepping into this alone. You are stepping into this with angelic assistance, spiritual backing, and divine design. Before this message closes, Archangel Michael delivers a final assurance. You are entering the chapter written for you. Nothing can stop it now. These words should settle into your heart like an anchor. Everything that comes next will align, uplift, and unlock the destiny you were always meant to live. Type "I step into my destiny" in the comments if this message resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 3308 is now activated. My crown spirit, there's a holy silence hovering over your life right now. A silence, not of emptiness, but of divine completion. It is the silence just before manifestation, the pause heaven takes before releasing what has been promised for so long. Archangel Michael stands beside you once again, but his presence feels different now. Lighter, victorious, almost celebratory. He carries the energy of someone who has watched you walk through storms, endure battles, heal wounds, and rise again when rising felt impossible. With a voice filled with triumph, he whispers, "The blessing is not just near. The blessing is here." These words are not symbolic. They are literal. You are standing in the threshold moment where waiting ends and fulfillment steps forward. You must understand the gravity of this moment. Everything you have walked through, all the delays, the spiritual warfare, the disappointments, the losses, the unanswered prayers, was leading to this divine point of convergence. Heaven does not waste suffering. Heaven does not waste waiting. Heaven does not waste endurance. Every tear became architecture. Every prayer became foundation. Every moment of faith became building material for the very blessing now entering your life. Archangel Michael reveals that there are blessings that arrive quietly, and there are blessings that announce themselves spiritually before they manifest physically. Yours is announcing itself right now. This chapter of your life is being sealed, not because it was insignificant, but because it served its full purpose. Michael says, your preparation is complete. Your spirit is aligned. Your identity is awakened. Your purpose is stirring. Now you must learn to receive. Receiving is an act of faith just as much as waiting is. It requires openness. It requires surrender. It requires trust. It requires the willingness to believe that you are no longer in the place of lack, but the place of promise. And for the first time in a long time, heaven is shifting you from reaching to receiving. You will begin noticing signs, subtle yet profound, that your blessing is stepping into physical reality. Conversations that open unexpected doors. Opportunities that align perfectly without force. People who speak into your spirit with accuracy and affirmation. Situations that shift in your favor with almost supernatural timing. And internally, you will feel it like a steady hum, a deep knowing that something has finally broken open in the unseen realms. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Archangel Michael reveals something that will settle deeply into your heart. Your blessing is not fragile. It is fortified. This means no person can sabotage it. No enemy can delay it. No circumstance can block it. No fear can dismantle it. What God has appointed for your life has arrived with divine protection and heavenly authority. It will be stable. It will be lasting. It will be fruitful. It will bring peace to your spirit, clarity to your mind, and alignment to your path. You will not lose what heaven has released. But Michael also gives you a powerful truth. Blessings change posture. You will not move through life the way you did before. You will walk with a strengthened voice, a lifted head, a grounded spirit, and a confident heart. The version of you entering this new season is not weak, uncertain, or abandoned. You are healed, You are aligned. You are prepared. You are deeply loved by heaven, and this blessing will reflect that love. There will be moments where emotion overcomes you, not from sadness, but from recognition. You will look around and realize that what once felt impossible has now become your reality. You will feel gratitude rising like a wave. You will feel awe settle into your bones. You will feel something inside you unclench, as if your soul finally exhales after holding its breath for too long. This is what arrival feels like. This is what divine timing feels like. This is what heaven's orchestration looks like when it manifests on earth. Michael now shows me a vision of a door opening slowly, revealing a path lit with brilliant light. He says this door represents your new life. The old door is closing behind you, not with regret, but with completion. You are not losing anything valuable in this transition. You are gaining what was always yours. And as you step through this door, heaven will guide every step. You will not stumble. You will not feel lost. You will not fear the unknown. Because this time, you are walking with the full backing of heaven's authority. In this new chapter, your purpose will intensify. Your discernment will sharpen. Your resilience will deepen. Opportunities will align effortlessly. You will begin to see patterns of divine orchestration in everything, from the people you meet to the timing of events. You will understand in hindsight why God made you wait, why He protected you, why He refined you, why He repositioned you, and why He sheltered your blessing until your spirit was strong enough to hold it. And then Michael speaks the final revelation. This blessing is only the beginning. This means what you are receiving now is not the ultimate reward. It is the first wave of a greater expansion. Heaven is not just answering a prayer. Heaven is opening a season. You are stepping into a flow of blessings, breakthroughs, clarity, purpose, and divine favor that will continue unfolding as long as you remain aligned with the voice of God and the guidance of heaven. For this message completes, let these final words settle deeply into your soul. You are ready. You are aligned. You are chosen. And what belongs to you has found you at last. Type "I receive my blessing" fully in the comments if this message seals itself in your spirit. Blessing code 10,000 is released upon your life. If this word spoke to you, like this video, share it with someone who needs spiritual confirmation. Comment to keep this atmosphere flowing, and subscribe to stay connected to every divine message that heaven releases here. As this blessing settles into your life, remember that this message is part of a divine mission to awaken, to heal, and to lift the souls God is calling back to Him. When you support this work through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are helping carry God's voice into the lives of those who feel forgotten, broken, or lost. I say this in first person because it is my assignment. When you sow into this ministry, you help me pour these prophetic messages into the world with consistency, excellence, and spiritual depth. This is your moment to plant into fertile soil, to activate a divine exchange, to align with heaven in both spirit and action. Your seed becomes light, hope, deliverance, and direction for someone who desperately needs heaven's whisper. As you give, may God multiply your offering, increase your territory, and open the floodgates of blessing over your household. Step into divine obedience. Move with heaven now.